watu waliingia serikali juzi kupitia dirisha. Na wanashikana na wakora wengine kutoka kona ingine. Ati memorandum yao ilikuwa mmoja yao ni kutoa watu kutoka Mau. Ati tuingize hii, ati sijui William Ruto atakuwa nini. We want to tell them to their face. The government of Kenya will not allow people of Kenya watumike kama vibaraka ya kisiasa. We will not allow.
The leader of majority in the Senate, Elgeyo Marakwet, Senator Kipchumba Murkomen. Those remarks, as we said earlier, have started quite a debate. A number of views have been put out there. We have him here with us tonight, and also the leader of minority in the National Assembly, John Badi, also the chair of the Orange Democratic Movement. Gentlemen, thank you for making time for Checkpoint tonight. Let's begin with what you said there. When you waliingia serikali juzi, na hii memorandum ama agreement, talk to us about what you meant, because it has been interpreted to mean you're talking about the former Prime Minister, the handshake, and that it was dealt and meant to see this kind of evictions as well.
First of all, Sophie, I appreciate this show. Thank you very much, because we're invited here to discuss a very important matter for the conservation of environment and protection of human rights. To start with, I don't know where people picked the former Prime Minister or the President, because in some instances people was even saying I was referring to the President in that statement. In that statement, I never contemplated or imagined that it had anything to do with handshake. In fact, I do not know how the question of Mao is linked to handshake. And to the best of my knowledge, the former Prime Minister is not in government. He is leading a party which is the leading party in opposition. So for even those who are seeking an interpretation to imagine that Raila was part of it is unbelievable.
So how is it that everyone says and understands it that way?
Because
everyone cannot be wrong. One person could read it wrong.
Everybody can be wrong except the person who spoke. It's myself.
So let's break it down
Let's break it down.
Walioingia
serikali juzi. The reason why I spoke about that is because the philosophy, the foundation of Uhuru Ruto Jubilee government from 2013 and before 2013, from 2009, was actually to address historical injustices, which included the Mao issue and the IDPs that occurred as a result of 2007-2008.
Right.
That foundation is not known to all public officers. There are government officers who came to government recently, some of whom came with the hope of supporting us politically as a Jubilee coalition. And in their thinking, they think that to do so, you have to remove certain people from certain areas.
So who are you referring to? The county commissioner?
The point.
Let's be specific.
Let me just make it expressly. When I spoke about that statement, I never had opposition leaders or even politicians in mind. I was speaking about public servants. And since they are too junior for me to mention their names here, I just wanted to warn them that you must understand the philosophy of government, that this government is based on redressing matters of violation of human rights.
But what memorandum were you talking about? The agreement walioingia kwa dirisha wakashake mkono na wakora?
The only agreement, did I say shake mkono? That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. All of you are adding things that the people I was talking about are people who serve in government. And people who, I even went ahead and said, some of our policemen are being misused politically instead of doing their work as professionals. And the only reason why I think the ODM and our colleagues here reacted to that issue is because, unless they had that in their mind. But I am the speaker of that statement. I am the person who made that statement.
Okay.
And if you want to listen to that statement, you must play the about 7 or 8 minutes of my speech.
I have listened to the entire speech.
It's a speech.
Yes.
And you'll realize at some point I'm saying, in 2009, I was present when President Uhuru Kenyatta came together. He was then Deputy Prime Minister with William Ruto, who had just been relieved of his duties in government.
Yeah.
And I said they came together to solve, one of the things they wanted to solve is the Mao issue. And my warning was directed to public officers that I said, some people who just came to government midway, who are not there in the foundation of government, have come and they cannot appreciate the direction we are taking. And so the fear I have is that, why did our ODM colleagues think it was them? You know, it's akin to someone going to a marketplace, and you say, Mwizi.
All right,
and then somebody runs away.
You said, okay,
but,
and let's...
But the person who is mwizi will know that he's the mwizi. But in that regard, I can tell you, no amount of interpretation can bring in handshake.
All right.
No amount of interpretation can bring in Raila Odinga or the president, because that conversation is about people who are serving in government at a junior position.
And you are in government, so it is interesting that you're castigating the simple you're serving
Absolutely.
with. But the channels are imagined to deal with those.
You can fault me can fault me for publicly reprimanding people who are serving in government.
Okay, let me
that
bring
one
in,
I can take the blame. But as a matter of fact, I knew what I was talking about.
You talk about ODM and that they're suspecting themselves and coming out running. Before you comment, sir, I want you to listen. Let's play that clip by the Secretary General, the Jubilee Party, as well as Sakaja, who's the Nairobi senator. Then we'll hear from John Badi.
When you talk about an individual politician going out there and talking at variance with the executive position that we have on that area, those are his opinions. But as far as the executive is concerned, our script is the same. But somebody from the legislature, even if he's the leader of majority in the legislature, in the Senate, his position, if it's at variance with the position of the executive, the position of the executive automatically prevails.
There are no plans to replace the leader of majority in the Senate. Our leader in the Senate is Kipchumba Murkomen. We have no problems with him being the leader in the Senate. Senate work is different from politics, and I think you should know we are not obsessed with positions and titles. Leadership is not positions. Leadership is what you do with the position you have. So those who are saying we need to replace him, I don't think it has come to that. We just want for him to recalibrate his ways, to know that he must first hold true fidelity to the cause of Jubilee.
All right, and you'll get a moment to respond. Let me first let me first bring him in, because you did say that ODM thought that they're the ones being talked about, and you said after that statement that you gave out a statement saying it was reckless, careless, and immature. Is how you were quoted.
You know, Sophia, for me, we don't need political analysts to really analyze and break down what Senator Kipchumba Murkomen said in Mao. Actually, if I were him, I think there is nothing wrong with making mistakes. He would just own up and say, I made a mistake, I threw tantrums, I acted out of anger, I don't know provoked by who or what, and just tell Kenyans, I made a mistake. First, when you refer to people who have joined government recently through the window, and they wakashikana na wakora wengine, and did an MOU. Which MOU are we aware of that was made recently? The MOU was signed by two individuals, Raila Odinga, Uhuru Kenyatta. It was not even a group of people. It was not even between political parties. And therefore, what the senator was referring to is very simple. It's in black and white. He's referring to Raila Odinga and referring to Uhuru Kenyatta. In fact, the people who came through the window, according to him, is Raila Odinga. It's not even people. It's an individual. And the wakora walishikana now is none other than Uhuru Kenyatta. And therefore, I just want to plead with my brother that at times when you are a leader at such a level and you are annoyed, it is better to take your time off a bit. And this thing, to me, is clearly not the issue of Mao. It is not the plight of the evictees, because if it were, then the senator would have not brought in the issue of the handshake. He would have not brought in the issue of the MOU. He would have not brought up the issue of building bridges and the 9 MOU points, because these other issues are fundamental to the people of Kenya. We also know that there are human rights issues around the eviction from the Mao forest that needs to be addressed. But that is not the right way to do it.
I think, Sophie, we came here to discuss facts.
And you know the fact that would help us, just a second.
The facts bearer is me.
And what we're asking, the fact would be, you tell us, this is the person, this is the MOU. To be vague is to leave it for interpretation of all as we have seen.
But forget about vagueness. I am the owner of the statement.
No, but you can also not force us, the whole country.
Anyone in the country wants to believe that it had anything to do with Raila or the president and so forth. I'm sorry.
Even your own leadership, even in the party.
Everybody is bound to have certain interpretation on their own. But I, Kipchumba Murkomen, being true to my own words, I do not, even if I twist that interpretation, I don't see where Raila is in government. Are you trying to tell me, Mbadi, are you trying to tell me, Mbadi, therefore, that ODM is in government and we don't have an opposition? How do you even force that kind of an interpretation? If I wanted to say that ODM is the reason why they came to Mao, why did I insist that government officers are defying government orders? Why did I say that the government are saying that people who are living below the line must continue living?
But the thing is
why did I have to come and say that?
The county commissioner...
And by the way, and let me tell you, Sophia, how can a majority leader blame an opposition leader? How?
Why don't you tell us?
I am the one.
Why don't you tell us who you are referring to?
That is the question the whole country is asking.
That's what I'm saying. I am part
the whole
of the
country is asking you.
That's what I'm saying.
Senator.
You guys, let's use this valuable time to discuss the issues of Mao. Because when we come to the issues of Mao, I'll tell you why I was angry. But when we discuss statements in abstract that have absolutely nothing,
I will tell you why people. May I make a point?
Yeah, but you see, the reason why you were insisting in this debate is because the crux of your purported debate is not there. The substratum of the argument is not there.
With due respect, Senator,
you want to divert our attention.
You have, in a different interview, with due respect, in a different interview, you have expressly come out to say that the lifestyle audit, after it was announced by the president. That's a different issue. No, why I'm saying this issue comes up is that at the time you saw the lifestyle audit, after it was announced by the president, as an attack or as a venture witch hunt to the deputy president. The reason I bring that up is that when now people see and interpret, everyone across the board, including your own leadership, interpret this to mean that. Do you see where they're coming from?
I'm sorry, ladies and gentlemen, you are wrong. Yeah. And if we are discussing tonight lifestyle audit, let's go to lifestyle audit.
No, we are not.
But if we are debating about Mao, my point remains the same. There are public officers who are acting in variance with the president's orders. And those public officers are not helping the government move forward.
Can I just ask a question?
As a legislator serving in that government,
can I just ask
although supporting the policy of government, and knowing that there are our colleagues who are serving in the executive, I have a small duty to warn them. Maybe the only wrong thing that I can apologize is to say, why did I warn them publicly? But maybe I should have done it privately. But as a matter of point, you cannot force that thing to get Raila so that you can get a discussion.
No, let's leave Raila out there. Let's get back to your government.
Yes.
Let's
go to the issue.
Let's get to the issue.
Yeah.
You are saying there are junior officers who are defying the president and executing an order that is not sanctioned from the top level of Jubilee leadership.
Absolutely.
We have just seen the CS, who is also the Secretary General of the party,
I will come to
saying
that.
that the executive position is what is happening. And is actually saying you are wrong. Actually, he has not even hidden it. He has said
it's a personal opinion.
That yours is a personal opinion. So between you and Secretary General of Jubilee, who is giving the official position
of government.
Issue of
now, let me give you. Tuju is right. Yeah, Tuju is not wrong. Tuju is saying that the government has a position on to ensure that evictions from the forest are done.
Yes.
Number two is saying that conservation of Mao is not negotiable. I think that's the same thing Sakaja is saying. We are all saying the same thing. The problem is we are answering ourselves on issues that none of us is on the wrong side. I am speaking the same government position that Tuju is talking about. In fact, if he had given me a phone call, because the Secretary General, he should have actually, I was asking myself, why is Tuju going to the media without calling me to ask, what is it exactly this
Sakaja
issue?
said you were
Even
disingenuous,
Sakaja,
you were
I actually called
disrespectful
Sakaja.
to the president.
That's what I'm saying.
That you need to vary your ways.
All those people are reacting to imagination, fertile imagination of their minds.
Everybody, sir,
but this is
imagining.
Me. Let me tell you, Sophie, and I can tell you this with finality. The government has a policy on Mao. It wants people who are below the cut line, the right side of the cut line, to remain there. It wants anybody who has crossed that line to be removed. In fact, the deputy president himself, speaking in the same area, let me just come to that.
Yeah.
He is the one who said anyone who has crossed that cut line must be removed.
Okay.
The problem on the ground, which everybody now wants to be dealt with, is it true what Murkomen is saying that 10 schools 4,000 children are out of school, that there are people who are being, you have the ones who are reported, that people's houses are being burned below the card line. The Deputy President has said that the card line must be respected.
Okay.
Murkomen has said the card line has been respected. Gideon Moy has said the card line must be respected. Isaac Ruto says the same.
But you have
Most
gone
of the
a
MPs,
step further.
all of
May I
us are
ask-
saying,
yes.
let me just conclude.
Yes.
All of us are saying
The card line should
people
be
who are
respected.
living below the card line, their rights must be respected.
me ask them
so
this question.
Tuju is speaking my same language. If he had just given me a phone call, he would have realized that he's actually, there's nothing for him to answer me.
All right, let me
Yeah.
put this to you, sir, because the concern here is you talk about junior officers in government that are going against government positions.
Yes.
So it's government fighting government. And many of the legislators you are with on that, they talked about the county commissioner Natembea. The county commissioner is the representative of the president, the national government there.
Yeah.
So he is doing what the president
Do you
and the
think-
directive of the government is. And you as a senior leader, to go and to be seen to incite, because that's what everybody has come out, many of those who have criticized you.
Yeah.
You have told those members, come back, you've told them you'll bring them Mabati. Is that how to go about dealing with issues?
Can I respond to you?
Yes.
Can I respond to
yes.
you? If any Kenyan, including me, goes against the law, and for me within Jubilee against our manifesto position, I am definitely wrong. And so if there is a government officer who has gone against that position of government, he's definitely wrong. And by the way, Sophie, I don't know why we are quarreling. The issues I've raised have been taken over by government. They have sent people to the ground. It has been established that there was a problem. People who are, their houses have been burned by mistake.
Yeah.
More officers are going this week. By Friday, we shall know the truth whether my argument that whether me, Gideon Moy, Isaac Ruto, and all the other 11 MPs who went there and said these people have been banned unfairly, whether we were right or wrong.
All right.
But I can assure you, at the end of the week, you will know that it is true. The only problem we have in all this conversation, in all this conversation, is that we are answering ourselves on issues. First of all, people are saying I insulted the president. I did not. They are saying I brought in the former prime minister. I did not. They are saying that I have gone against the government policy. I have not. What Tuju is saying about conservation of forest and what I'm doing is the same. And by the way, there is no better qualified Kenyan, forget about even majority leader, who can speak about conservation of forests than Murkomen. And let me say why. Let me just explain to you why.
Please, we also have another guest.
I in Embobut Forest, I'm the one who's being discussed. I in Embobut Forest voluntarily left my home in Koropke without any single compensation. Why? Because we had a sitting with government and we had a conversation on what needs to be done.
All right,
I understand why environment must be protected.
Mbadi, this clearly has gone beyond, and there is a human rights question that's a real issue. You have the children that are not going to school, the houses that have been destroyed, but the politics of it, and it's not just now. In the years past, we've seen how it always comes up, and it becomes about who is protecting their vote and their stronghold. What do you make of this time around on this issue?
You know, as a country, Kenyans must make a decision. If we want to protect our forests, we must make a clear determination to protect our forests. This issue of Mao has been with us for a while. There was a very organized way through which we would have saved and protected Mao. But because of politics, the whole thing was wasted. We had a task force, we had a team that was supposed to manage the issue of Mao conservation. Now, where we are, first, it is a human rights question.
Yes.
I would not support where you find children in the streets, by the roadside, that houses are being burnt.
Yes.
But we must also ask ourselves, there are Kenyans who are losing their lives. Look at what is happening in Narok when it rains. It is because of the destruction of Mau Forest. Those lives that are lost in Narok, the lower parts, the Maasais who are dying, are also not less Kenyans or lesser Kenyans than those we are complaining about that have been left in the cold. So as we must protect Mau Forest by making sure that those who have encroached into the forest are removed, but we must do it in a humane way so that some Kenyans, even if they made a mistake, are not seen to be exposed to unnecessary suffering.
Yeah.
But I wanted to, Sophia, if you allow me, because Murkomen has been, I think, deliberately trying to take over this discussion without allowing others to speak.
No, I have relaxed. Why are you
know,
inviting me?
Murkomen spoke And he spoke without any provocation, I would say. Maybe he thinks he was provoked by the plight of those, the people who were suffering. But no one asked him to speak what he said. He actually mentioned some specific words. He would have done justice to this country, and we would have understood him better if he explained to us which is this MOU that he referred to in his speech. Who are these Wakora? These junior officers is referring to. Which MOU did they sign? They signed the MOU with who? And who is Mkora here? And who came to government through the window? You know, we have to understand this. He cannot just come here and dismiss every Kenyan who has interpreted it to mean that he was... In fact, he's saying that there are people who are saying he abused the president or he insulted the president. It is not our mistake. You are the deliverer of the message. If we decode it wrongly, then you have a problem. In fact, when
so what do you think was the intent? What do you think was the intent of his message?
Murkomen went through the university education after I'd gone through university education. During our time and his time, there was what we call communication skills. If you deliver a message that I decode differently and another person decodes it differently, you need to ask yourself, are you efficient or
what
good?
do you think was the intention?
The intention here
yes.
is simple, in my view. Murkomen wanted to divert the attention of this country, and to some extent, he has succeeded.
Yeah,
you know, these guys have been very uncomfortable. The corner where Murkomen has found himself is very uncomfortable with the fight on corruption.
Come on.
The lifestyle audit. Not come on. You have been on record of trashing the call for lifestyle audit. You have been on record, and many of your colleagues, your friends,
Can we come
have
back
been
to
on
the issues?
record for saying that this fight on corruption is targeting an individual. And Murkomen, I wanted just to plead with him as a leader of majority. I know sometimes we retreat, even I retreat back sometimes to defend my people. But you should not spend over 90% of your time on localized, ethnicized politics at the expense of your duty as the leader of majority.
You know, as a senior
You are
government
not
leader,
the
we're
leader of
hearing.
majority of
totally
Elgeyo
agree.
Marakwet.
As we go on break, what we're hearing is government needs to stop doing what government said, and government, how is this government is speaking to itself in public? What's the breakdown?
What Mbadi will agree with me is that, and first of all, let's focus on the issue. It's Mao, yeah? I'm glad he agrees that there were violations of human rights. He agrees that there are issues about children not going to school, there are issues about old women and old men suffering in the forest and so forth. If you go to that situation, if you find yourself in a situation where I found myself, policemen beating somebody mercilessly, you are bound to become angry with those who are doing such kind of things. And as a representative of the people, and there is that dichotomy for both of us. For him, he may not have that challenge. But for me, there is that part of I am an elected representative of the people, but who works with the party which is in government. So sometimes, in chastising those who work in the executive, even if they are in a junior position, sometimes you have to speak strongly in support of those who are suffering. And if there is a mistake I have made, and I'm willing to apologize for that mistake, is that maybe I should not have questioned the county commissioner publicly. Maybe I should have looked for him privately. But let me ask you, Sophia.
And inciting, do you see that you incited people? Because
I am a lawyer,
to tell
Sophie.
people that have been told to leave to come back. In fact, you tell them you'll furnish them.
The same people are being told to go back. As long as they're below the cut line, they're going to leave that place. They're even going. In fact, the police told me, let's keep them abatis. Let's sort out this problem. We will give them the abatis. So it's not like there's a big issue.
So you apologize for calling out the county commissioner?
If there is anything wrong I did, was to speak about the plight of people of Mao publicly. But then, Sophie, let's ask ourselves, had I not done that, with all these people who have rushed there, whether it is the party leader of KANU, whether the party leader of CCM, all these politicians who have gone there to say they want to support those people, they have come there. So sometimes it takes a leader, even with purportedly make uncomfortable a few of his colleagues, but to raise concerns that affect Mwananchi.
All right.
And sometimes, you people, I don't know what you want from us. When I keep quiet completely, they say you're a psychophant. When I talk, they say you're disrespectful. But, as a matter of fact, I am a full believer that now that these issues have been raised, I've been picked at the highest level in government by officers who are in charge of this issue,
All right.
I believe that the issue is going to be solved. And I want to tell, and this is a message before we go to break.
Yes,
I want
please,
to
we
tell
need to
my
go
colleagues,
now. Yes.
both of us who are members of parliament, including the Secretary General of the party and Kina Sakaja and the like, to relax. Let them relax. The issue is being handled. There is a problem. That problem is being handled, and we're going to file a solution. And I'm glad that although we made a few people uncomfortable, we are now on track to solve that problem, and we'll solve it.
We are taking a break here on Checkpoint. Stay with us. We'll be right back.